Hello and welcome back to another CAD clip. In this lesson we're going to show you a couple of really neat things about the new REVIT 2014, must be version 2014, energy analysis tools that are all built in. It's not an add-in or an extension. It is actually built right into the analysis tools. If you go to Analyze, I'm just in the little basic sample project that comes with REVIT installed, and it's got some good information there. It's got some little solar panels down here, and I did have a look under electrical equipment, and sure enough they are real solar panels. And if I click on here, it's going to give me some good information about the materials and all that. So I'm not sure if that's being tied into the main system or not, but inevitably it would be. So the analysis that we're doing, or we're going to have a look at, I've already run two analyses. And what has happened was I changed my location and I changed a bit of the materials, and you can compare the different energy footprint and use the green build model to compare as you move. So what I did was I said, okay, the building is in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, rather chilly, dry location, and then I ran the analysis. Then I changed my location to be Phoenix, Arizona in the States, which is very dry and warm. And I changed the materials of a couple of my components inside of here, because the walls and the floors and the glass and the roof and the insulation all has thermal values. And if you pick on an assembly, it'll tell you the composite thermal value of that assembly. So then when we go to our energy tools, I want to do analysis on the entire building, not just the conceptual massing model. Energy settings, so what I did was I changed between my two locations. It's back to the default here. I went inside of here and I did a search for, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and then I picked that location. And then I did another analysis, and in between I went and changed my location from Winnipeg to Phoenix just by typing it in here, doing my search, and then just hitting OK, and it adds that location inside of there. Inside of also with building type, one of my analysis I said single family, and the other one I said it was an office. So you can change the building type inside of here to be whatever you want, and I changed it to be office when I went to Phoenix. So a couple of minor changes. So just before we have a look at that analysis information, we do want to log into Autodesk 360, because that's the engine that actually produces the analysis in the simulation and pushes it into kind of a green build format. So now what we want to do as well, just before we have a look at that data, if you pick on a roof and then you go to the edit type button and into the structure, you're going to see now it's going to give you a complete thermal mass number, kilojoules per, I'm not sure what that unit is, and then we've got our R value inside of here. So R value thermal mass. So as you look at that roof and you've got your different materials inside of here, if you pick on something and then you pick on the material button, gypsum wallboard, you'll go inside of there and it'll say, okay, the thermal value of this material is this. So you can go in and punch in all this wonderful information into each individual layer of the material, right? If we do the preview, there's our roof assembly. Okay, so if you pick on each different component within that assembly, that's all these different layers, and then you can click on there and go in and change and manipulate the thermal value of each layer of that roof. Okay, the same thing goes for walls. If I pick on this wall and I go into edit type and I go into the structure of that wall, and I can click in here and zoom in, okay, I can pick on, you can see the different blue layers as I'm going through the wall assembly, and inside of each of those layers I can look at the different thickness of the material and the material itself, pick on the little material button here, and inside of there I can add in, now look, this one doesn't have any thermal values. Timber insulated panel, that should have a value, and I don't see thermal in here. So what we have to do, we have to add that asset to the material. I hit the plus button and say I'd like to add a thermal asset to that structured timber insulated panel. So from inside of there I can go looking in my library of potential assets, and I'm looking for something wood panel or something, solid wood. I'm just reading on the right hand side here, and solid wood plywood. We'll go with something like this to start with. Okay, then on the right all I do is go like this, click, and it adds that as an asset. Now watch, I close this off and look over here, I now have thermal value, so I can go in and change these numbers. So I've basically added a thermal asset to this material, which for whatever reason didn't have any thermal material properties. Fair enough, hit OK. That's going to change my analysis a little bit. So each one of these components and materials, of course, that make up our wall and floor and roof all get these wonderful little thermal values. Once we have all that set up, finally we go to our Analyze tab, over to here, we say Run Energy Simulation, and then you hit the Create button and it takes all that information and then runs the analysis based on the location, etc. You need to be logged into Autodesk 360. It goes away, it prompts you with a couple of very quick questions. Really easy stuff. I'm just going to cancel on that, and then you'll see a little wheel turning and you'll get a little message here pop up and say your analysis is done. So I did it twice. I hit the energy analysis once, changed my location, changed some values, ran it a second time, and then if we go to our results and compare, we can click on that. It'll open up our green build information over here. And you can see that I did one in, not Winnipeg, I changed my mind, I did it in Edmonton, Alberta, about the same climate, maybe a little bit different. And then I have my Phoenix one. So I can click on that and I can go down here, not too fast, location, okay, all this wonderful information, energy use and fuel, some nice graphs coming up, monthly heating loads, monthly cooling loads, window solar, window infiltration, okay, miscellaneous equipment, okay, all kinds of fantastic information inside of there. And then I have the same thing for a different climate, Edmonton. So Edmonton with a little bit different materials, okay, going to see a little bit different energy and fuel consumption, a little more heat energy rather than cooling loads. So the heating loads are going to be a little higher because it's in Edmonton, Alberta. Cooling load, okay, mainly in the summer. You can see in July. Australia would probably be the opposite, where the fuel consumption would probably be lower in the winter months, in January and February and November and December, higher in the July and August. So they would have their colder season in the middle of the year. So all kinds of great information here. So what you can do now is, as you change your different locations and materials and play with all that data, you can do a control click and grab both of these models and simulations and say compare, and then boom, it's going to compare them for you. So now we can do a side by side. Okay, Phoenix versus Edmonton. So we're going to definitely see some different criteria. And I did that on purpose just so we would get some changes. Okay, you can scroll this out a little bit, maybe even squish this over. Okay, get centered. Okay, so all kinds of really fun stuff. And the best thing about this is it's all built into REVIT 2014. There's no add-ons, no extensions, no installation, no nothing. It's quite nice. So it's the old garbage in, garbage out. As long as you have taken care of your model and added all your materials and your thermal values and everything else, then you can go in and use these wonderful energy analysis tools. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I can see a big future in the next while taking full advantage of this great analysis information.